Hello. Do you ever reread books? Read again a book, especially like fiction or a novel. The reason I ask is because recently I reread a book that I read originally back in university. So when I was like, I don't know, 20, 21, 19, something like that, age like that. I read a book, quite a famous book called The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, is considered one of the classics of American fiction. And when I read it when I was 20 years old, I thought, it's okay. I don't see why anybody cares. And I underlined things in the book. In the old days, kids, we had paper books that you would underline and quote back to the teachers. But I didn't really enjoy it. So then fast forward to now, and so it's like been 30 years, 25, 30 years since I first read the book. And I reread the book just for fun. And I ignored what I had already written, all the notes I'd taken, which actually didn't make any sense to me now. I'm looking at, why did I underline that? Why is that important? Doesn't seem important. And I just read the book for the story and for the enjoyment of it. And guess what? It was pretty good. Maybe because I have changed. I'm not the 20-year-old that I was, unfortunately, physically, unfortunately, but mentally, maybe that's a good thing. I I could understand the characters better. I could understand maybe what the author was trying to say. And this story is all about super rich people in the 1920s. It was written 1925, 26, something like that. It's in the book. Anyway, it was all about rich people and how what's the word? Superficial, just living on the surface, not deep. They were superficial, how superficial these rich people's lives were. They had all the newest cars of the 1920s, big house, wild, crazy parties, getting drunk on alcohol every night. Hooray. But they were deeply unhappy and kind of not stupid, but had very shallow, superficial life. And I thought, reading about it, it was all about 1920s, but there are those kinds of people today, of course. The superficial, living on the surface. I think now about like TikTok people. Hey, look at me! I'm having such a good time. Click, click, click. And you just think, yeah, really? Are you really having a good time? Are you just showing off to people? What's the point? Feelings like that. Anyway, so the point is reading the book later gives you a new way of understanding it. I'm just having a look at it now. What to say? Well, there are various vocabulary items that develop. This is a good expression, to get the fuss. I didn't really get the fuss about the novel when I was 20 years old. Get the fuss. Get means understand. I didn't really understand the hype, the meaning, why everybody was thinking it was a great novel. I didn't get the fuss of why it was supposed to be a good book when I was 20. But 30 years later, I read it and enjoyed it. So I persevered. That means I kept trying. And I ignored my underlinings that I'd scrawled, written in bad handwriting on my book. And then I realized about the vapidness of a certain type of American dream. Vapid means empty. I realized that the empty idea of, oh, if you're rich, you'll be happy. Of course, all these rich people were not happy. And in the a lot of the characters were clueless. They're very similar to clueless, famous celebs of today. Clueless, you have no clue, means no idea about life. Clueless, famous, we know famous. Celebs, short for celebrity. I think Japanese say talento. This novel was full of these clueless, famous celebs. Um, And so, even in a book that was written in 1920, oh my goodness, that's over 100 years ago. There were the same kinds of people that are around today. They had different fashions and different way of speaking, but the same characters. And that was kind of interesting. Okay, let me see. I've got three questions to ask you to think about. Have you had to read a book but not enjoyed it? Like, in school, did you have to read a book, but oh no, I don't like this, right? Number two, do you know any classics that are enjoyable to read now? Another example is like Shakespeare. I think I had to read it in when I was about 15, 16. Oh, Shakespeare, so hard and difficult, boring. Now, I'm quite happy to try and figure out what does this mean? And, oh, wow, he's writing about that. And, oh, wow. Themes like love, power, um, honor, duty, loneliness, happiness, all of these things, they're all there in Shakespeare. Anyway, so do you know any classics, old style books that now that you quite enjoy? And a kind of related question, the last question, number three, what books written now do you think will be considered a classic in the future? Is there anything that's popular now that you think in the future people will say, wow, that was a great book. All of our children should study this book. Okay, that's your homework. Good luck. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.